Thank you.
My classes today are in honor of Chaim Yitzchok Ber, Ben Benjamin Zev Halevi, whose yahrzeit is today, 17th day of Teves. Teves is the month of Teves. The root of the word Teves is Tov, which means good, and the number 17 is equal to the gematria of the word Tov, because Tes is 9. And Vav is 6, adds up to 15 plus 2 is 17. So 17 is Tov. And it says the Talmud teaches us, Ein Tov Ela Torah, anything that's good is Torah. And the Torah is good. So today is the 17th, which is the best of Torah of the month of Teves. Like it says in last week's Sedra, Yaakov lived in Egypt 17 years. They were the best years of his life. Because, for two reasons. One is he was reunited with his son, Yosef, measure for measure. The first 17 years of Yosef's life, he took care of him. The last 17 years of his life, Yosef took care of his father. Okay? Tanya. This is the yahrzeit of Chaim Yitzchok Ber is my father. Now we've been talking about the idea of different kinds of light, speaking meaning, revelation of godliness. There's a light which is called a panimi, an inward kind of light, and there's or makiv. Write these two words on the board. Panimi or panimius means inward from the face. Remember, we spoke of the idea that your face shows everything that's inside your heart, your mind. And then there's the idea of a makif. Something that's makif is something that's outside and surrounding, above. Outside and surrounding. Or makif, a light. Or a light can be a makif light, something that's outside, surrounding kind of light, or it can be an inward light that shines inside. So Torah is an or panimi. It's an inward light. something we take into our mind and into our heart. Whereas the whole concept of learning Torah is an or makif, because we're just saying the words. When a person learns Torah, he doesn't necessarily have to understand what he's learning. Or he may understand it only very superficially, but the Torah is like a makif. Here, physically, a makif is a person's yarmulke. We're outside. The Torah is in your brain, but the mitzvah is outside. So mitzvahs are compared to plural lashon, and the plural makifim, surrounding light. When you do a mitzvah, it generates a surrounding light which surrounds the person. Again, the image that we spoke about one time was the difference between the dancer and the dance. The dancer may have feelings about the dance that he or she is doing. But the dance itself remains something outside of them. Ultimately, it's, you as an outside observer cannot tell the difference between the dancer and the dance. So similarly, mitzvahs are like a dance, and you are the dancer doing the mitzvah. You are the dancer doing the dance, and Hashem is the choreographer. He gives us the dance to do. So on page 94, just to sum up, when a person knows a halacha, he knows a law, he is grasping, like you grasp in your hands, holding it, you're holding in your brains the will and the wisdom, the will of God. That's what Hashem wants. He wants you to do this. He wants you to give tzedakah. He wants you to light a candle and bring Shabbos into the house. He wants you to eat kosher food. And there's the wisdom of God, that every law is full of wisdom, very, very deep, deep beyond all. There's no end. There's no end to the wisdom of any law that we learn. And it's impossible for us to grasp these things, to grasp the will of God, because it's infinite, except when it's embodied in the form of a mitzvah. That's the dance. And we confront it in the laws that we learn about the mitzvah. Okay? And when you learn the law, your mind is in that law. It's enclosed within the idea, which is the law. And the law is within your mind. It goes back both ways. Page 95. And this is the great thing about knowing Torah as opposed to doing mitzvahs. Because mitzvahs involve action, and action is something that's outside of us. Hello, Mrs. Shapiro. We didn't see you yesterday. You don't come on Mondays. The saving grace of Monday is that there's always Tuesday.
True.
Good morning. Rochel Hama. Is Yaira on? Not yet. Elena, that's you. From Argentina. Basia, not here yet. This is Leah, just came in.
Sorry.
Leah. Gianna, good morning. Hannah.
Good morning.
Hannah Bera. Haya Atkins.
Good morning.
Present. Rochel O'Connor.
Good morning.
Malka not here yet. Rochel, you look better without your glasses on. You look very mysterious with your glasses on. Batya. Where's Batya?
Coming.
All right.
2 minutes she's gonna run.
Anybody I didn't call? Ilanit, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Shirel, Tali,
Yeah.
Cohen, Saban. Who is this?
Myself.
Yuba. Asia. Okay. So we're on page 95. We're talking about the advantage of knowing mitzvah, knowing Torah, as opposed to doing mitzvahs. Because, page 95, when we do a mitzvah through an action, lighting a Shabbos candle, cooking kosher food, or speaking, mitzvahs to speaking, like saying a bracha before and after we eat the food. So then, Hashem surrounds us and envelops us in his light from head to foot. The mitzvah brings a light, like it shines a light upon us. We're doing the mitzvah. So whenever, I've said this many times, whenever you go in the subway or you go in the street, you're dressed modestly according to the laws of the Torah. There's a light of Hashem surrounding you wherever you go. People notice it. You don't have to say anything. You make an impact in the world because you're fulfilling a mitzvah every single second, which is dressing modestly. People have a certain air, dignity about them that distinguishes them. Royalty is noticeable on a person, a noble person. It shows that they have a noble background. Can't take it out of them. And this nobility of mitzvahs surrounds us wherever we go. And it has a very positive effect in the world, on other people, and in the general atmosphere in the world. That's the achievement of mitzvahs. Whereas, going down to the page now, almost at the bottom, in the case of knowing the Torah, on the one hand, your mind is involved in Hashem's thoughts, which contain his wisdom, and his wisdom also is in your mind. Through the fact that your mind grasps and understands an idea insofar as your brains allow. Like a young child knows how to say Moda'ani, but he doesn't understand the full meaning of the prayer until he studies it in Hasidus. So the inter-involvement of your mind with the mind of Hashem through knowing Torah depends on your IQ and your mental development and the inclinations we learned in the last chapter, the inclinations of your soul. For instance, someone like Hillel, or the students of Hillel, their soul is rooted in chesed. And therefore that affects their character and affects the judgment and their understanding of godliness. Whereas someone like Shammai, who was a colleague of Hillel, but the root of his soul was the opposite. So therefore, where Hillel is going to always tend towards, well, not always, almost always tend towards leniency and kindness, and with an emphasis on love, Shammai, his soul is going to tend towards strictness and being very exact and punctilious in the way you do everything. So therefore, on page 96, we see that for this reason, since the Torah we learn, the Torah knowledge we acquire is absorbed in our intellect, it's compared to food. Torah is compared to food, and we're going to learn in a few lines further down that mitzvahs are compared to clothing. Okay, now look at this. He's going to now describe for us the whole process of digesting knowledge. Just as physical bread nourishes the body, but in order for the bread to nourish the body, you have to eat it. You can't just look at it on the table, because that's outside. Torah has to come inside you. It has to become inward in your mind and in your heart. It has to become absorbed. And when it's absorbed within you, it's just like blood is transformed when you eat it, just like food is transformed into blood and the flesh of your body. And through this, you live and you have energy and you continue. Like if you don't eat for a long period of time, you begin to feel very weak. You have no energy, and the food gives you energy. I remember hearing Rabbi Mangel describing 1945. He was in Auschwitz, and they couldn't kill off people fast enough because they were losing the war. So they put them on these infamous death marches where they would march 500 miles with no food or anything. And he said there was a winter and it was snowing, and he was in a barn. They were in a barn had no roof, so it was snowing on them. It was freezing cold, and he had no energy to go on. No, he was a young boy. He was like 11, 12 years old. He had no energy whatsoever. And somehow somebody gave him a morsel of food, like a banana. He said he could feel the life, because he was starving, literally starving. He could feel the life coursing through his veins, giving him energy and restoring his soul. So Torah, in the same way, when we take Torah within us, it becomes like the bread of the soul. So now on the bottom of page 96, when a person, now notice how the Alter Rebbe writes this, it's amazing. The first stage of learning an idea is to know the meaning of the words. You have to learn how to read. You have to know the meaning of the words. The idea still isn't in you. You're just beginning to get acquainted with it. So if you study it well and you concentrate on it, so you're really focused now, you're not distracted. So that's stage one, stage two. First of all, to become familiar with the idea, that you know what it's talking about. And second stage is you concentrate on it and you focus on it. At this point, your mind connects to it. That's stage three. Until now, it was something separate. There was you, it was your mind, your seichel, and there was the idea. First, you had to see what is the idea, and then you had to focus on the idea. It was still something that's not you. Now you grasp the idea, you begin to take possession of it. That's stage three. And stage four, it becomes one thing with you. Like, what could I compare this to?
What's the first one?
Two things that are joined with glue. Or I nail an idea, a mezuzah up on the door. Or I take some wood. I have a chair, a wooden chair, and the chair starts to fall apart. So I get wood glue and I bring them together, and the wood and the glue hardens and they become joined together, but they're two separate things. Or another example of this is like writing letters on parchment, Sefer Torah. So the letters become connected to the parchment. You'd say it's one thing, but really it's not. You can scrape the letters off. Then there's a deeper level of unity Not that they're not just we're connected, but we become the same thing. Like oil and water can be together in the same glass. So the glass contains oil and water, but they're together, but they're not connected. They're connected, but they're not one thing. But one drop of water on the table, another drop of water spills, and they touch, they become one drop. They become one body of water, one thing. Water with water becomes one. So the fourth level of unification with an idea is where the idea becomes unified with you, like the letters of Torah on parchment. Still separate, but connected. But the ultimate level of knowledge of an idea is when the idea becomes part of your mind, like engraved in your mind, like letters engraved in stone. Those, you can't take those out. You cannot take those letters out. They become one thing with you. In terms of mitzvahs, that's the idea of a chayk, a statute. A statute is like something engraved in stone. So when we learn Torah on that level, then the Torah becomes like our life. Then the Torah itself generates life to us. That's amazing. That's something wondrous. And we saw it with our eyes. We saw with our eyes how the Rebbe would come to a farbrengen, he would sit down, he would drink some wine, which seemed very hard for him to do. It seemed to take him a long time, drinking this little bit of wine, which anybody else would just gulp it down. It would take him a long time to drink it. And then he would eat a piece of cake, maybe 2 pieces of cake, and he would take a long time eating them very carefully. And then he would bring for hours and hours. I was once at a farbrengen that went from 1:30 in the afternoon till like 6:30 in the evening. And then at the end of that time, he'd have another little piece of cake and say an after bracha. Where did he have, and the energy the Rebbe had was phenomenal. Phenomenal. When I first came here, I was young and strong, and I tried to follow the Rebbe's order of the day and do things the way the Rebbe did things. I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep with the pace. He wore me down. Within a day, I dropped out. I couldn't stay with it. He was tremendously focused and hardworking, and he hardly ever ate. Never ate much, but from what he ate, he extracted all the vitality that was in it. Whereas most of what we eat just passes through us. So what he's saying here is Torah is compared to food, because the same way you eat food and gradually your body breaks it down until it becomes your flesh and blood. It goes through many stages, which is a wondrous thing in the way the human body is made, and the way animals' bodies are made, that they take food and change it into flesh and blood. And we live from that. If we don't have it, we can't continue living. We starve to death, heaven forbid. The same thing with Torah. When we concentrate in our learning until the Torah becomes unified with us, then we hardly need any physical sustenance. The Torah itself becomes energy and life within us, because the Torah is connected to the source of life. So at that stage, a person is getting his life directly from Hashem. The bottom of page 98, there it says, the Torah becomes food for your soul, just like food, physical food becomes food for your body. On page 97, and the Torah becomes life and energy within a person. And where does this life come from? From the source of all life. Ein Sof Baruch Hu, which is the infinite, blessed be He, Hashem. Hamalubish b'chachmasei, because Hashem and clothed himself, going back to chapter 4 now, through the process which we called, who remembers what it's called? Tzimtzum. Through Tzimtzum, Hashem and clothes himself in the wisdom of the Torah. And in the will of the Torah, the Hashem's willpower, which is expressed in the words of the Torah. And that's what we are that's what we're taking in. That's our intake. And this is reflected in what David HaMelech says in the Psalms, Tehillim, Toirasacha Hashem, your Torah Hashem, B'seich meyai is in my kishkas. You know what kishkas are? It's a delicious dish that they stuffed intestines. Stuffed intestines. They stuff it with, breadcrumbs and all kinds of spices. They clean out, the kishka. You know what kishkas are for? They're intestines. That's for digesting the food. It's horrible. It has to be completely cleaned out. But then it's used to make this delicious stuffing. Kishkas. So Hashem, David HaMelech says, Hashem, your Torah is in my kishkas, in my digestive tract, in my intestines. Your intestines break down the food until it becomes totally liquefied, and then it becomes flesh and blood. That's what David HaMelech said. He was very wise 3,000 years ago. Your Torah is in my intestines, meaning the Torah is the food of your nefesh. Similarly, in Eitz Chaim, it brings out this idea. Eitz Chaim now. Review. What is Eitz Chaim? Eitz Chaim means literally the tree of life. Eitz is a tree. Chaim is life. There's a book called Eitz Chaim. Who wrote it? You probably don't remember. His name is Chaim. Very often, great writers would put their name in the books that they wrote. For instance, there was a great sage from Morocco, Chaim ben Attar. So he wrote a commentary on the Torah, which is in good editions of the Chumash, and it's called The Light of Chaim, or HaChaim, the light of life. So similarly, Chaim Vital wrote the teachings down in a book called Eitz Chaim, the tree of life, and a second book called The Fruit of the Tree of Life, pre-Eitz Chaim. What was in those two books? Those two books contained, the only books that contain the teachings of Rabbi Yitzchak Luria. Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, known as the Arizal. This is the main channel of knowledge of the mysteries and secrets of the Torah that come to us. It starts with the first man who was taught these secrets by God, and the great sages of time. Avraham Avinu learned from, Noach survived the flood and taught all this knowledge to his son Shem. Avraham Avinu learned in the yeshiva of Shem and his son Aver. Yaakov learned there and passed the knowledge down to Yosef. And from Yosef, it came to Levi. Levi continued learning. While the Jews were enslaved in Egypt, the tribe of Levi was never enslaved. The tribe of Levi never suffered slavery. They were always learning in the yeshiva. So when Pharaoh tricked the Jewish people into slavery, he tricked them, you have to be loyal to the country. You have to help the country. Everybody is needed. So the tribe of Levi said, no, you need everybody. You don't need us. We don't leave the yeshiva. So the tribe of Levi was never in slavery. And they continued passing the knowledge down. Then you get to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai after another 1,000 years, who reviewed all this secret knowledge and transmitted it to a small group of students, like 4 or 5 students, who transmitted it to another small group of their students and disciples, until 1,500 years later, when we get to the Arizal, and about this time, 100 years before that, the printing press was invented, and these teachings could now be set down and disseminated, because they didn't have high tech and they didn't have transportation. So it had to be people wandering around saying over by heart what they had learned. So the Arizal is one of the great, that's 500 years ago now, in Sfas. Rabbi Yitzchak Luria is the preeminent teacher of mysteries, of the esoteric inner side of the Torah, and he only allowed it to be written down by his one chief disciple, Rabbi Chaim Vital, who wrote 2 books, the Eitz Chaim, the tree of Chaim, the tree of life, and the pre-Eitz Chaim, the fruit of the tree of life. And here the Alter Rebbe is taking us, little us, into his classroom, into his cheder. And it says there in his book, Eitz Chaim, chapter 44, the 44th gate, chapter 3, he's the one who teaches us that mitzvahs are compared to clothing. You ask, what, when a person passes away, they put his body in the earth, the body decomposes, an ordinary person, tzaddik doesn't decompose, and the soul goes to heaven, to Gan Eden, to the Garden of Eden. Question, the body is not wearing any clothes, just some white linen garments that they wrap the body in the grave. What does the soul wear in Gan Eden? What do souls wear? Where do they get, all the souls walk around naked? You ever wonder? What do souls wear in Gan Eden? And the answer here is the clothing of the souls in Gan Eden is the mitzvahs that you did in this world. So that righteous people who do a lot of mitzvahs have a beautiful wardrobe waiting for them. And every garment is light, because mitzvahs are called candles, and Torah is light. And just like you select your garments that you're going to wear day by day, so the mitzvahs that you do in this world are garments in the world to come. That's what it says in the book of life, Eitz Chaim, the tree of life. Page 97, continuing down the page to the 4th bold lines, 4th set, 1, 2, 3, the 4th set of bold lines, the Torah is called food. So until now, it was very nice that the Alter Rebbe was telling us how Torah is like food, but he's got a source for it. And his source is the esoteric teachings that go all the way back to the beginning of creation. Avraham wrote a book of esoteric teachings. Avraham. So much for the I don't know what you call them, archaeologists, people who write the history of mankind. They like to think that people were very primitive. Our people were not primitive. Avraham was a Kabbalist, and he knew deep secrets. And he wrote a book of secrets called the Book of Formation, corresponding to the world of formation. Torah, and we've been bringing out the idea that Torah is like food because it gives you energy and sustenance from the source of life. Just like food gives you life, Torah gives you life from the source of life. When you learn Torah for the right reason. If a person learns Torah because it's for his or her benefit, like your teachers might tell you in certain schools. If you don't learn Torah, you're not going to get a good shidduch, darling. And your father better learn Torah too. He better go to a Torah shir, or people won't want to marry into your family. And they put a lot of pressure on, in from communities, there's a lot of pressure on parents to be righteous and to be learned so that they can marry off their children. But that's not for the right reason. Or a person could be very poor, born into poverty. And he thinks, how am I ever going to get out of this? Well, in America, it's a lot easier. You can go to a school, even if you have no money. You can go to a community college. You can learn a profession. You can become a plumber, an electrician, all kinds of professions. A typesetter. You can earn money. You can get into a business. If you have any skill, any brains, you'll rise up. But in the old days, it wasn't so. In the old days, if a person was born into poverty, the family remained poor. And the only way a young person could hope to better his lot materially in life was if he was a Torah scholar. If he studied hard in Cheder and he excelled, and they would allow him to continue learning, and he became a real learned scholar, then he could marry into a wealthy family of bankers or landowners or people who are successful. But that's not the right reason. That's not learning Torah for the right reason. That won't give you really garments in the world to come. Learning for the right reason is learning because it's Hashem's Torah. No other reason. That's called learning for the right reason. That's lishma, for the right reason. Learning for its own sake. Learning for the sake of learning. Learning for the sake of the holiness, to be connected with the holiness, to participate in holiness. Like a fish doesn't want to swim in the water for any other reason except that the water is his life. Out of the water, it has no life. So we learn Torah because Torah is our life and our length of days. And if that's how we learn Torah, then Torah becomes life for us. And that's what it says here on page 97, that the Torah in Gan Eden is food for the neshamas. And the mitzvahs that you did is the clothing of the neshamas, if it's for the right reason, if it's for its own sake. Each person according to what he's able to learn. We're going to finish now, come to a new section on a deeper, explain the whole thing on a much deeper level in terms of Makav lights and inner lights. We're going to have to do that tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much. Before I go, I just want here to, in honor of the yard site,